Welcome back to the Chatty Ramble. By now, you know I am Caroline, the original Dragon Lady, and my guest today is the lovely, wonderful Eloise Burton. Now, you may know Eloise because she is the money alchemist, and is it define? Oh my word! Here we go. Oh, what do you call your business, darling?
It's Money Alchemy. Reveal, heal, and transform your relationship with money. Yeah.
Oh my God, that's long.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining me. We've chatted a number of times, and I've been stalking you on Facebook forever. How did you? Because I know, because you share quite a lot of your story through your posts and through your programs and things like that. How did you get in to working with money? What apart from hundreds of K's worth of debt, how did you start training in becoming a money alchemist? Where did that really begin?
So I have not worked with money for the majority of my life. I'd been the opposite with money. Money and I were like ships that passed in the night, and there was a bit of like an undercurrent of hatred going on. And you know the story. I had a house repossessed. I was £100,000 in debt. At one point I had 3 jobs and literally the least amount of money I'd ever had. And something changed in my life that made me realize that I needed to focus on me. And when I focused on me, I started manifesting things, people. And then I manifested my partner, Mark, who I'm marrying later this year. And we wanted to buy a house. And I'd shared with him at the start of our relationship that I'd had a house repossessed. And that meant I couldn't get a mortgage. And I had all this debt. And we were just bored one day. We kind of put our dream on the back burner and just kind of got resigned to the fact that we'd probably have to stay in a rented house, and that wasn't great. But it was what it was. And then one day we went to a show home. We were just bored. It was in Romsey, actually, not far. And we sat there and we were like, oh, this is our dream house. It's a 3-story house. It's got really big rooms. And I can still remember sitting on the sofa, and it was a velvet sofa. And I've even manifested a velvet sofa. But anyway, winding back to that moment, I remember sitting there and saying, look, to get the deposit for this, we're looking at about 10 to 15 years. And that's not including the price increase, right? And so we were like, okay, well, that's a goal. That's a goal. Came back, and 9 months later, we had manifested the money. We had moved into this house, not that house. And we had money left over to go on holiday. Now, what was really interesting is that about a year after we moved into this house, I was sat in my office where I am now, and I had a velvet sofa, not the one that I've got now, but another one. And I was like, I've been here before. And I called Mark up and I said, this is the house that we went into in Romsey. It's in a different town, it's in Eastleigh, but this is the same house. And he was like, no, it's not. That house was different. I was like, get in the car. We drove over to Romsey, and it was the exact same house, same developer. It's a new build, same developer. And so we manifested that house, but in a different town. And all whilst that was happening, I was playing at having a business on the side, making loads of money actually from Amazon, doing really well with that. And it got to the point where it was so successful that I was in a position to leave my full-time job. And I had the biggest mental health crisis of my life. It was hurting me physically, mentally. My nervous system was shot apart. And just the thought of being so successful from a business that only took me about 10 minutes a month to run, it just filled me with fear, doubt, shame, dread, all this thing. I kept thinking I'd done something wrong. I must be doing something illegal. Maybe I'm going to go to prison for tax evasion and all this. And I was doing everything right. I had an accountant, I had people advising me, but in the end, I just had to shut it down. It was causing me too much stress. And so I shut it down. I literally turned off the tap of thousands of dollars dropping into my account every 2 weeks. And that was when I started diving down the rabbit hole of money mindset. And it is a big rabbit hole. It's an Alice in Wonderland one. And I trained with like loads of people, Denise Duffield Thomas, oh, I can't think of her name. Sandy Forster, that's other people as well. And then I trained with their coaches. So I trained with the likes of Kendall Summerhawk, and I've done lots and lots of training on money mindset and healing modalities, including hypnotherapy, energy healing, rapid energy release, all sorts of things. But I still felt like there was something missing. Like what they were teaching was good and it was useful. It helped me understand why I felt the need to shut that business down and how to heal from that. But I felt like there was something missing. So I asked the universe to give me an insight, and I woke up the very next morning with Money Alchemy, which is an incredible process. It's simple, but also complex. It's magical, but also logical. And it works if you work. If you do the work, it works. So really, really powerful. And what I loved about it was the alchemy side of things. It's a precursor to chemistry. So it's science that we know today, but before. And it makes it very grounded, but also very magical. And so that's kind of like the long version of how I got to where I am now. And that's what I love doing. I love helping people understand that it's more than just mindset. It's not just mindset. That your relationship with money isn't just in your head, it's in your heart, it's in your soul, it's actually in your body as well. And when you release things that are keeping you away from that relationship or not allowing you to fully commit to it, everything changes, and it like unlocks piece at a time. And sometimes it's like a domino rally, sometimes it just goes and it unlocks, and it's an incredible journey. I'm still on it myself, but it's an incredible journey.
It's huge.
Yeah.
It's a huge journey. And I one of your programs you did, or talk that you did, and you asked the question, is money male or female? So to all our listeners, just think about that for a minute. Do you see money or feel money as a male or female energy? For me, that was an absolute game changer. And I've played this with many friends and clients and all kinds of groups and all kinds of things ever since I heard it. For me, it was like,
yeah.
And without fail, to date anyway, people that haven't done your work or haven't heard you talk have all said male.
Yeah, masculine energy. Yeah.
That was for me one of that, and that there's set up one of those, that series of dominoes that you talk about, because it was completely mind-blowing. And what I was really interesting, a few weeks ago you started talking about money healing. Words to that
I've been talking about it for years. It's interesting. It's obviously the right time for you to hear that.
I caught it a few weeks ago. And the thing is, what was really interesting was that I literally had the same realization the week before, but I'd never heard you talk about money healing.
And
again, that was another one of those series of dominoes for me that went off. It's incredible. Because our relationship with money, it shows us all what I find is money. I don't know, you could maybe explain this. I'm completely taking over your chat.
I love it. I know you've been paying attention.
I have been paying a lot of attention. What I find really interesting is that I forgot what I was going to say now. It's completely gone.
You talked about the masculine and feminine energy, and then money healing.
That's what I was going to say. Thank you, Val. I'm glad you're listening. How money is a mirror.
Yes.
To our beliefs, our emotions, our thoughts, our mindset. And people say, "Oh, I don't care about money." And I think it was a Facebook live that we did together, and you said about how your relationship with money and how you treat money and how you think about money is in direct correlation, a direct link to how you feel and treat and think about yourself.
Absolutely. So if you say, oh, I don't care about money, I would say 99% chance that that's also true about how you feel about yourself deep down.
Yeah. And it's the that money mirror to me is absolutely huge, because it shows through every aspect of our life, from our fear, our self-sabotage, our doubt, our not being good enough, imposter syndrome, procrastination.
Yeah.
All of that stuff can get linked back to money, because the money is a reflection of our self-worth in so many ways.
Yeah, and in Roxy Nafusi's book, Manifest, I posted a quote yesterday about it, and it's basically you will only manifest what you feel you're worthy of. So basically everything that you have around you demonstrates your worthiness, like how you feel inside about your worthiness. Yeah. And I know for the longest time that I was avoiding money and struggling with money, that was I had really low self-worth and I didn't feel worthy inside of me. So like that manifested in struggle and hardship, and you know, things always going wrong when I got money because I didn't feel I was worthy of having it.
Yeah, do you know that one? Like you get an extra 300 quid, you get a tax rebate or a bonus or something. You get an extra 200 or 300 quid. Bang goes the washing machine.
Yeah, I've started seeing that very differently now. This year, I see it as pre-manifesting, because how incredible were you that somehow, without knowing, you manifested the money for your washing machine breaking down next week? Like, how incredible is that?
Oh my God, that's a complete mind switch.
Yeah, and it's almost, it's pretty much guaranteed to be to the penny the amount that you got, isn't it? So actually, you're being extremely powerful when you manifest money and it goes out, because you pre-manifested. If you didn't have that £300 for a washing machine, that's a big expense, right? But you pre-manifested it. How amazing are you?
Wow. So why is it goes out almost to the exact penny, with it literally within pence quite often?
Well, it is literally, it is a so it's an energetic thing. There's a book by Gay Hendricks called The Big Leap, I think it's called, it's on my shelf somewhere. And he talks about why this happens, and it's that almost like that misalignment, or if we're looking at it from the point that you pre-manifested, it's the complete alignment. It's like somehow you basically, verse in the Bible, ask and it is given, right? Yeah. So like all you did when you manifested that money is you pre-asked for it. You didn't even know you needed it. You're that powerful that you pre-asked for the exact amount that you needed. If you ask the universe for £1,000, it will likely send you £1,000. However, if you ask the universe for £1,000 or more, it will send you £1,000 or more. And sometimes, I think you've experienced this, haven't you? Sometimes more. Yeah, exactly. So it's about, you know, some of our manifestations are unconscious, like the pre-manifestation, like the manifestation of, you know, struggle. That's unconscious, because consciously no one wants to struggle. Consciously we all want more money, but subconsciously we don't, so we don't manifest it.
So why do we feel why do we feel uncomfortable? Now you've just said there, and I can feel me go, oh, and I'm sure hundreds of our listeners are going to do the same thing.
Yeah.
We all want more money. Particularly being British.
Yes.
That is terribly uncomfortable.
Absolutely. Yeah.
What is that about?
It's about stories that you've been told. These stories are probably not even your stories. They might be your parents' stories. They might be your teachers' stories. They might be the government stories or your colleagues' stories. But somewhere along the line, we picked up a story where it's greedy to want more than enough. And, oh, I don't want to be greedy, so I only want to win £1 million rather than £10 million. Do you know what I mean? I
want 10 million.
And a lot of my clients do this by saying, they say the words, I just want enough that I could go on holiday once a year. Well, if you only ask for enough, you're only going to get enough to go on holiday once a year. But what if your car breaks down? That takes that money away, right? So you had just enough, but you didn't have more than enough. But we feel guilty, ashamed, greedy if we ask for more. We're told that even like our relationship with money reflects our relationship with ourselves. Like we're told not to be greedy when it comes to food. And then if we overeat, even if we haven't got a bad relationship with food, if we overeat, we feel bad about it. You know, oh, I shouldn't have eaten that. We beat ourselves up. So we hold ourselves in the light of these stories or the darkness of these stories. And because they're coded in our beliefs, because they're everywhere, that's just, and you watch it. If I meet someone and I say, oh, do you know what? I love money. If they look at me like that, my sensitive mind's going, they're judging me. I've said something wrong. Like that something's out of alignment there. And you do that to enough people and you get this confirmation that there's something wrong with you. And so therefore you play it small and you say things like, it's not about the money. I don't like money. I don't need money to be happy.
Oh, yeah.
So it's about those stories. And the number one tip that I give to people on who want to manifest, if you want to let go of the struggle and manifest more, whatever that is, number one tip, and it sounds very scary to people when I first say it, and that is stop watching TV and listening to the news on the radio. Just stop it. Stop it, because all you're getting is confirmation. You watch a film and, you know, the greedy person's, or the person that's got the money is considered greedy and mean, you know. You get this constant infiltration of poison. And it's stories that we take on as true, and they're not true. Money actually isn't feminine or masculine. In my world, we work with money as a feminine being, but money takes on the energy and intention that you give it. And that means you are choosing to see it as cold and transactional and hard and struggling and all this type of thing. The good news is you can choose to see it in a different way. You can choose to see it as creative, flowing. Money is fun. I mean, you know, in my Money Alchemy world, we laugh at money sometimes because she's so sneaky and funny. My friend and client, she got in such a huff with me because she felt like I was accusing her of saying she didn't look after, of not looking after her money. But what I was saying was, look for money. Go and look for money. And she's like, but I know where all my money is. And she's got her arms crossed. She's like this. I know where all my money is, Eloise. I'm not going to find any. And she got quite stressed out. And then the next morning I got a WhatsApp from her and she said, you're not going to believe this. And I knew what was coming. And she said, I got out of the car in Winchester, put my foot down in the car park. And I thought, what's that under my shoe? And she picked her foot up and there was a £2 coin on the car park floor. And she was like, I just laughed my head off because that's money showing me that I should look for money. And I think of coins and notes like that we find as like feathers from your angels. They're signs that money's near you. And she's going, hi, I'm here.
It's incredible, isn't it? Winchester again, I was with some friends who've got an interesting relationship with money, and all the way down to Winchester, I've been bashing their ear about your stuff and the My $1 Million Experiment and all the rest of it. Look, you just got to get this stuff, you know. It's so simple to do.
Yeah.
And I've been
talking about too simple, isn't it?
It is almost simple. It is, but but I love the simplicity of it. Anyway, so we've gone to get a parking ticket, and my friends started thinking about what had actually happened over like the previous few weeks, and I started to join the dots together of, oh, actually, well, this happened, and actually that happened, because she was suddenly paying attention to money.
Yeah.
And I dropped, you know, the tokens for your trolleys.
Yes.
I was scrounging in my purse for a change. I dropped the token on the floor. She looked down to pick it up, and at her feet, without a joke, were just scattered 5p's, 10p's, 20p's.
I love that.
There was over £2 there.
Wow.
And she was like, what the? Did you? No, I didn't. I dropped my token.
Yeah. It's incredible, isn't it?
it was she was just she went out to lunch on that for the rest of the day. She was so made up on that.
You can't explain that, can you? That's not coincidence, that's not chance. The mathematics, literally, I watched a program about this, but there's mathematics literally cannot explain those types of events where, you know, you're talking about money to someone and then there's money literally everywhere. You know, it would be nice if it was millions of pounds, but you know what? We're focusing on the stuff that's coming to us, aren't we?
Absolutely.
And the
absolutely.
more you see money, the more you see money. The more you see money, the more you see money. And what happens is we get a little bit scared again. A little bit of doubt creeps in and it's like, oh, that worked. And you know what? You did the thing that worked. You did it again and again and it worked and it worked. And, oh, I can't do it again. What if it works again? I might have to change my whole life path, which was struggle, to actually maybe Eloise has got a point. Maybe we are all abundant beings. Nope, I'm going to stop doing that. It's quite scary.
Yeah. And that's what happened, funnily enough, this month with me.
Yeah, because
so I've had two on the trot that have been brilliant.
Yeah.
This month is gone.
You freaked out. That's what happened. Yeah. So your mind is, our minds are naturally negatively biased anyway. And our egos and our conscious minds are very comfortable in what is known, even if what is known is
uncomfortable.
I call it an unfamiliar hell, you know, just to exaggerate. Like,
yes, no, it is a familiar hell, because for many people, not being able to feed the kids, or should we put 10 quid on the electric, or do I go and buy some dinner?
Yeah.
For, you know, for the kids.
Yeah.
That is a reality, isn't it? For many people. Yeah.
And yet you can dip your toe into an unfamiliar heaven and you get a glimpse of it, but your subconscious mind goes, oh, that's new. That doesn't feel comfortable. That doesn't feel familiar. And so that unfamiliar heaven that you dip your toe in, it's like a holiday. You go there for a few weeks, a few months, and then you're like, I better go back to my familiar hell now. And it's a safety mechanism. And I did a post today about how actually the shift from struggle into abundance is beautiful, but it's shaky. It's like someone's rocking your house and all of the cracks that need repairing are going to start showing themselves. All of the things that aren't secured to the wall are going to fall off so that you know what you need to secure to the wall. And what we need to do is actually hold space for that discomfort. And that's something that we're not very good at. We like to be comfortable.
We do.
Yeah.
We don't like the unknown. So how do you, so you've got I think of it as when we hit that wall, or we go back into that old familiar hell.
Yeah.
Because we go, because it's I found it to be very cyclical going through this process.
Yes, it is.
Very cyclical.
Yeah.
And it's bloody boring, and it's incredibly infuriating.
It is, but it's actually, I would say it's not so much cyclical as it's a spiral.
Yeah, that's a better word. Spiral.
Yeah, because actually, if you look at where you are with your relationship with money now, it might feel similar to how it was the last time we spoke, but actually you've up leveled. Like when we first started talking about it, it was really uncomfortable to talk about it. And now you love it, right?
Yeah.
And you're manifesting like that when you do the thing. Yeah, you know you can do that. So I always think of it as a spiral. And, you know, I still feel the same as I did when I first started this journey. Like, oh, nothing's really changed. But actually, when I look down, I'm like, oh, I'm several layers up now. And what my new normal is so far away from when I started. You know, when I started, I was generating about £2,000 or £3,000 a month in my business. That's 10x now. And wow. even when it got to £10,000, I was like, huh? That feels so unreal, but it still feels the same now as it felt when I first started. Like I've got to keep doing the thing. I've got to keep doing the thing. I think your relationship with money is like any relationship. You have to put work into it. If you start taking it for granted, the shine starts to disappear. There are hard times. There are times when you don't talk to each other, and there are times when you're really, really close and connected. But the point is that you have to be connected to each other at least like reaching out to each other. And that's where my Money Magic foundations come in, the 5 daily habits that just help you go, I see you, I'm making room for you, come and be with me. You know,
I thought about you this morning. I was looking for something, so because something that I've done is, and I don't think I've ever done this in my life. Bearing in mind I'm knocking 60, I've paid for my first proper grown-up overseas trip.
Amazing.
So
that's a big upward spiral, isn't it?
Massive. I did a trip a few years ago to Sardinia to some friends that moved to Sardinia, but I think feeling Kev might have paid for that. This one I've paid for myself.
Wow.
It is work related, but it's still, I've still paid for it and spending money.
Yeah.
And I forgot. See, my brain's like a sieve today. Where was I going with that? I was going somewhere with that.
Yeah, you said about you booking your trip.
So, for where I was when we first started talking a few years ago, there was no way on this planet I'd even contemplated doing anything like that. So it has become almost like a new normal, hasn't it?
Yeah, and you've not noticed that until we started talking about it. You're like, oh yeah, I did that. Oh yeah, that hadn't happened before.
Absolutely. So that's actually really interesting. So when you get these, fears, because when we want to create something, because our relationship with money is a relationship, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's how we think about it, how we feel about it, how we treat it. All of that is very much a very intimate relationship, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah.
Sometimes we hate it, don't we?
Yeah.
I get really cross with her. I get really pissed off with her at times.
Yeah. But the great thing is, because we are all worthy, even if we don't believe it, we are all worthy. There's no forgiveness. There's no making up that you need to do. All you need to do is reach out to money and reconnect. That's it. Money doesn't make you beg for forgiveness or earn like a certain amount of pocket money or anything like that. Like, money is completely healthy, and she's like, I'm here for you when you're ready to reconnect with me. And
yeah, that's interesting, because I've often thought of money as about being some kind of quid pro quo.
That's because you're thinking about masculine, transactional.
Yeah, trade-off. It's a trade-off. Always a trade-off.
But you can have, you can manifest any amount of money. All that limits you is your feeling of worthiness. And worthiness is something that, again, we've been taught is changeable and it's based on our behavior, but it isn't. Whether or not we're a good or bad person is based on our behavior, but we are born worthy, and that never changes. That never changes, but we've been taught that the way we behave, the way we think, if I think a bad thought, then I'm like, oh, I don't deserve,
Yes.
That isn't true. If I have a bad thought, I've had a bad thought. Does that make me a bad person? It depends how often I'm having them and acting on them, right? But it doesn't change my worthiness. It's like, am I human? Yes. Does me being a good human or a bad human stop me being human? No, I'm still human. I think worthiness has been twisted. Worthiness, and that's why you see people that are, wretched people still doing well in life, because they just know they're worthy. They just know it. And it doesn't even enter their head that they might not be deserving of what they want. But for the rest of us, we doubt we're even worthy of having a pair of knickers that doesn't have holes in, right?
Yeah, socks, tops. Yeah. Oh my God, tops. Your post about clothes with holes in last week, I went, every single top I possess got a bloody hole in it. Brand new tops that like a week old got bloody holes in.
Yeah.
Where I sit doing veggies or washing up and I lean against we've got marble sides.
Yeah.
Oh my God, makes me so cross.
So you are worthy of having clothes without holes in. You're worthy of perhaps having an apron or a pinny that you could put on.
That's what I've started doing. It's now
Yeah.
in the wash. I feel like my gran now.
Yeah.
I put a pinny on when I'm doing any
Yeah.
kind of prep stuff, so don't put holes in me new tops.
And how wonderful does that pinny feel when you
I love it, because it was my gran's. I love it.
See, this is the thing, right? It's often where people often think that it's millions of pounds that are going to make a big difference to their life. And I'm not saying it wouldn't. Like, it absolutely would. But oftentimes it's the small things that make you feel more abundant. So you don't have to wait until you have a £10,000 month or until you win the lottery to feel abundant. You pop your penny on and you know that your clothes are not going to get holes in them.
Yeah.
And that makes you feel good, and that makes you more attractive and more willing to connect with money in that relationship. And it's, you know, like one of my favorite purchases is this electronic lighter that charges on a USB. It was 20 quid. And every time I pick it up, it reminds me that I don't have to struggle by walking downstairs, lighting my candles, walking upstairs, and I'm clumsy, so that's dangerous, without it blowing out or burning the house down. 20 quid, and I feel so abundant.
Yeah. Love it.
You know, and so, like, big money, yes, we love it, but don't dismiss the small things that money can get you as well, that really actually make you feel so frigging good.
Yeah, absolutely agree. I got that the other day, £3.99 off Amazon, because then it plugs into my earphones. I can have it. Then it's something so simple, isn't it?
It's a game changer.
It is a game changer. My gran always used to say, look after pennies, the pounds will look after themselves. And I think that's so true, isn't it?
It is and it isn't. It's about the balance. So after the pennies is about seeing the pennies and, like, not discriminating, not going, oh well, that's only a 2p, I'm not really going to count that. So it's like, oh my goodness, I found 2p, money is everywhere, you know, really, like, welcoming the pennies in. But also what can happen is there's everyone has a money personality. There's 8 personalities.
Ooh.
There's one called an accumulator. Now, the accumulator on the surface looks like they're excellent with money. They've got stashes of cash in banks and under the mattress and all sorts of things, but they cannot spend it. So what they do is they squeeze money until the energy comes out of it. And they live very frugally, and, you know, they won't use the money. Money's meant to be used. Yes, you're meant to catch some of it and let it grow in other ways, but you're not meant to squeeze the life out of it. It's a flow as well. So looking after the pennies, fantastic, love it, so long as it's in balance with allowing the flow of the pounds as well. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, because it is that flow, isn't it?
Yeah.
That in and that out.
Yeah.
So just want to just dip back slightly a minute, going back to worthiness.
Yeah.
So there is as human doings, as the dragons like to call us, we associate so much of life as being conditional and deservability, don't we?
Yeah.
So how do we get past that, you know, that conditional that conditioning of conditional behavior, but also that deservability? How do we actually, because they're either blocks or wounds or resistance that we carry. One, how do we determine which is which, but also how do we get past them?
So the first,
or heal them.
Yeah, the first thing, and I say this is about 80% of the work, is just being aware of them. Because once you're aware of them once, when it creeps up again, you're like, oh, there's that funny feeling again. And I remember Eloise saying, we're always worthy, nothing changes. And so you start reprogramming yourself. But the other thing, the other 20% of the work is healing. So that can be something like you could have a blockage, it could be in your throat. A lot of women, due to the witch wound and events prior to that era, we have a lot of problems speaking about what we offer and selling, because it doesn't feel safe. So healing that part of the body, you can do it with Reiki, you can do it with crystals, you can do it with all sorts of things. My chosen methods, I have a few. The first is journaling, because journaling creates a very magical connection between what's inside your head and the real world. So it's like you're casting it out of your head. And then I love to burn things, so not in a bad way. So I always burn my journaling, and I envisage that, I visualize that drifting away as it burns. Visualization is super powerful. We don't daydream enough. Basically, the universe doesn't know the difference between this reality that we're looking at now and this reality that we play with in our heads. And so visualizing, daydreaming, a different way of being can really help you to release that block, and you just like, that becomes your new normal rather than your familiar hell. So the more you imagine, the more you step into it. That's why often goal setting works. It pulls the future into your reality bit by bit. I love hypnosis. I love hypnosis. It's very fast. It's very powerful if you're open to it. And I use a really magical modality that was created by Natasha Bray called heart healing. Very, very powerful. It links back to, you know, where were these beliefs of not being worthy or enough or lovable? You know, where does that come from in this life or a previous life? And then releasing it over a period of about a month. So it's fast. It's fast. There's tapping. Love a bit of tapping. Very good for like the not so deep beliefs that are blocking you. And silent counseling, which is like tapping on steroids, even more powerful, gets it gone even faster. So it's you know, some very recognizable healing modalities can really help it. And being able to recognize when you're in that house shaking moment as well, and instead of retreating and going, no, we don't like that, you're just going to stand there and go, I've got this. I can do this. This is not a sign that my house is falling down. This is a sign that I'm ready for the next up level. And it's, you know, staying in
it. Transformational phase, isn't it?
It's uncomfortable. In alchemy, which is what I love that Money Alchemy came through me. In alchemy, there's a phase called the dissolution phase. And that is where the particles come apart. They come apart, they move around, and then they coagulate into something that is different to what it was before. And that's what I see that house shaking is. It's that pulling apart, you're coming apart so that you can come together and experience a different reality. It's not, you're not coming apart because you're coming apart, you're coming apart so that you can come back together in your next up level. It's scary, it's hard, that bit, but when you know what it is, it's like, oh, yeah, got that now.
Wow. So you've got a book out, haven't you?
I do.
Money Alchemy, got it there?
The Magic of Money Alchemy.
That's
How to
very good,
reveal,
by the way.
heal, and transform your relationship with money.
I love that book, by the way.
Thank you.
And there's some real moments in there as well.
Yeah, and I wrote it, it's got very short chapters as well, so you get lots of aha moments, but you don't have to dedicate a whole day to it.
Yeah, that's what I find. That chapter, you know, I haven't picked it up for a few weeks, actually. I need to pick it back up again. I've been a bit busy with other things, which is probably why my has done that this month, because I haven't had the focus on it. Anyway.
Yeah. Just like how your relationship with money, she's like, oh no, I haven't got time for you now.
Yeah. But that's exactly what's happened.
Yeah.
Because it's been 2 months of roll comfortably. Third month's like, actually, I need to get back. I've got to get back into dirt. Not paying attention to you.
Taking her for granted. Yeah.
Yeah, afraid so. That's the, So note to self, pick the book back up.
Yeah.
So you do. So you've got your manifestation cards. I love those.
Yes, the essence and energy of money cards. They are absolutely. They always know, don't they, Caroline? They always know what you need to hear. Not always what you want. They're like tarot cards. Not always what you want to hear.
Yeah, exactly. And I like to journal on them, actually.
Yeah.
And I found an awful lot of resistance over the sort of the years has come up with them.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, now that's really interesting. What's that feeling about? Why am I resisting that? And it's all about that self-worth and deservability, isn't it?
It is, but like I said, like just being aware that they trigger you or they activate you, or Like, that's huge. You can dive into that. You go, oh, I don't like that one. Why don't I like that? Where's that come from? What story is that? Is it even my story? Is it someone else's story?
And that's it. That's the key, isn't it? Is that my story? Because in essence, is that your truth, or is it just that you've learned it by rote from somebody else somewhere else?
Yeah.
Through life.
Yeah, and there are so many stories that people will tell you about money that are not positive.
Yeah, it's all about control, isn't it?
It is, and
especially control of women.
Absolutely. I mean, I think the first chapter in my book, I talk about the fact that women couldn't even have their own bank account until 1975 in the UK. 1975. That's less than 50 years ago at time of recording. We're getting close to that. But, men have had access to money for thousands of years, even in the form of salt in the Roman Empire, is where the word salary comes from. Salary is salt. So women have not had access to money freely throughout the years. So, I think the other thing to be really clear on is where women haven't had money for very long, we're absolutely smashing it, really. We're doing really well, considering what a tiny snippet of time we've had it. We're smashing it.
Absolutely. And there's because you did mention in your book that how many was it million or billionaire women there are in the world, and it's a fraction.
It's tiny. It's because of that. It's because up until even last century, women couldn't inherit to a certain degree. So like it had to go through male lines. So what we see on those top, the high on the the rich list is there's a lot of inherited money, old money, and some of the biggest highest value women are actually now they can inherit, and they have been able to do for just over a century. That's where some of them got their wealth. But again, women weren't seen that often in the workplace for very long, and they certainly didn't have access to money. So it's more of a time lag, really. But when you look at it, you think, well, considering we're like 51% of the population or something like that, it shifts, doesn't it, between 49 and 51. How is it that only a tiny proportion of these high value of these very rich people are actually women? And it is because of that restriction that women have had, and I think men have struggled with that restriction as well. It doesn't just affect women, it affects men in different ways. But yeah, so that's why it's that time lag. And maybe in 3,000 years time that'll be 50-50.
Yeah, but we are catching up, aren't we?
We're catching up fast, like disproportionately fast, because we are magical beings. And I think there's a reason why women have been pushed back throughout the ages. I don't know what it is, but one day we'll figure it out.
Yeah. And I think there's that element, that intuition, that power, that innate power that we all have within us. So we're again only beginning to relearn and re-understand now, is my feeling.
Absolutely. And the men who can tap into that magic, like they experience this pushback as well. So we're all in it together with that.
Of course we are. Do you know, Eloise, as always, I absolutely love talking to you. Thank you.
My pleasure.
So much. So where can people find you? Facebook,
just come and find me. I'm Eloise Burton on Facebook. Just come and find me, and then you'll get to see all the things that I do. And also come and get my book. It's free at the moment. You just pay for postage, and it's themagicofmoneyalchemy.com, and you can get your copy.
Amazing. So you got Facebook, website?
fearlesslyfeminine.me. Yeah, but the best place to get me is on Facebook. I direct people left, right, and centre from Facebook. So
wonderful. But you've got a Fearlessly Feminine is for people that don't do that sort of.
Yeah, fearlesslyfeminine.me. Yeah,
and everything you talk about is on there. Your book, your cards is all available. Are you running any courses at the moment?
So I am currently running something called Wealthy Within, which is a really powerful healing container. And I'll be running a free challenge in May, but I run them throughout the year. So don't worry if you're listening to this after May. And that's on Facebook. And it's a week of immersion in money, alchemy, and magic. It's really incredible. And that's a free challenge. So get on board.
Love it. And you do one-to-one clients as well, I take it?
I do, yeah, I do one. And I've got my signature program is Money Alchemy Academy. It's a 16-week dive into your unique, specific money personality. So it's completely tailored to you and how you work with money. Very, very powerful. I have a membership. I've got so much stuff at so many different price points so that it's accessible for everyone. Yeah.
Amazing. So we'll all come out of our poor state to be much more abundant in a way that suits us.
Absolutely. And like I said, money is there waiting for you. She's ready for you. You don't have to apologize. You don't have to grovel. She's there waiting. All you've got to do is connect with her and she will go at your speed.
Yeah, with you. Yeah, wherever you are on your wobbly path.
Exactly.
Eloise, thank you so very, very much.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
And I'm sure I'm going to see you. Take care. Bye for now. Thanks for joining us on the Chatty Ramble, guys. See you soon.